Today we're looking at the Hot Wheels Heritage Series Redline Case B. This is the second release of this popular series, which started out with a Real Riders Case A. This was released just a couple months ago, and the way it works is you've got an alternating series of Real Rider vehicles with the blue packaging, so far as we know anyways, certainly with Real Riders, followed by a Redline series, which have the plastic wheels with the Redline tires. These are not the original old Redline tires you would have seen in the 60s, but the more modern Redline tires, which do resemble the Redline wheels of the late 70s very closely. I personally like both these equally, and I think it's an awesome idea that they've mixed it up for both Redlines and Real Riders in one series. The cars you're going to find in this series include a 1968 Dodge Dart in an awesome metallic purple, the 55 Chevy Bel Air Gasser. Keep in mind all these cars have a metal chassis too, which is going to make them extra desirable and heavier on the track. A Nissan Skyline HT 2000 GTX, a 49 Ford F1 pickup truck, and a 70 Chevelle SS wagon, followed lastly by the Copper Stopper. A really interesting assortment here, with some obvious conclusions going to be able to be made at this point, that the Nissan Skyline is going to be a hard one to find in your stores, given that Japanese racing and motorsports cars currently are extremely desired by collectors of all sorts and by kids, I'm sure. You're going to have trouble finding this one on the pegs, I'm going to guess. Also, the 55 Bel Air Gasser and the 68 Dodge Dart only number 2 cars per case. So these are going to be 50% harder to find just by numbers versus any of these other 4 cars. Sadly, I do believe the Copper Stopper is going to be a bit of a peg warmer. As always, there is one in every case, sometimes even more than one. But it's a cool casting. It's just with 3 per case, and with a lot of people wanting cars that are more realistic, especially in this adult collection. They're going to be after these pickup trucks, the Nissan, even the station wagon I think is going to be popular. But most of all, these last 3 cars here. And a quick recap for the last case, or last release, Series A. The 2 cars per case in this one was the Datsun 240Z and the Hair Splitter. The Datsun 240Z, again, being in that Japanese racing segment, it's going to be a hard car to find. As, of course, was the Datsun Bluebird 510. It's had a lot of attention lately. So that one's extremely difficult to find. Prices on eBay soaring for these cars. But the peg warmers already, and I called this one too when I first opened up my package, will be the Altered Ego, the Bubble Gunner, and to a lesser extent, the custom Chevy Greenbrier Sports Wagon. Although this is a nice heavy casting, so some people will like it just for racing and whatnot and customs. And this is how the cars come straight from the factory, made in Malaysia. Packaged in somewhere in Ontario, though, I do believe. 16 cars to a case. Mattel has gone with a longer cardboard box now than previously seen. And multiple cars of each. We'll start out with the cool Skyline. So we're going to see 3 of those. 1, 2, 3. There you go. And next up, the 49 Ford. Again, 3 of those vehicles. In these cases, this is how they're supplied to your local stores like Walmart or any other box store, or hobby store for that matter. And they just take them out and put them on the shelves for you. So we've got 3 of the 70 Chevelle wagons, and 2 of the 55 Gassers, and 2 of the 68 Dodge Dart, and lastly 3 of the Copper Stopper. The case is marked with the B, designating the second release for the Heritage series, although it doesn't say Heritage anywhere even on the box, let alone the packaging. As you can see, I have a nice little Real Riders background to contrast nicely with my red lines that I'm going to be cracking now. So the first one of these red lines I'm going to crack is the Nissan. This is probably my favorite of the bunch. Let's see what it looks like loose. Isn't that nice? What a gleam on that car. Lots of shine, beautiful black paint. Really bold looking Redline tires. It's got the red roll bar and roll cage inside the interior of the car. Pretty detailed bottom too, all metal. And of course Hot Wheels are known to roll really nicely. So that one looks just terrific loose, I would say. It's nice to be able to add that one to the collection. And my second favorite out of this bunch would be the 70 Chevelle SS Wagon. That's my personal second favorite. I love my big old 70s four-door cars, and the only thing better than a big old 70s four-door car is a four-door wagon, in my opinion. And, you know, the paint job's okay. I really actually think it's pretty cool. I love that it has the metal base, like all these cars in this series do. This is a terrifically heavy piece, and it rolls really nicely. It's got a lot of size to it, so it looks right next to the other Hot Wheels in its series. And my third favorite's this 49 Ford F1. The look of these old trucks, so cool. When you see these on the road in real life, that big grille in the front, the headlights inset like that. This one's definitely got a bit of a drop to it, lowered suspension. Interestingly, the box is all cast one with the body. That's how Hot Wheels usually makes their pickup trucks, unlike some other die-cast manufacturers. And this is kind of a tie here for me between the Dart and the Gasser. They're both cool cars. I'm not really super keen on purple windows in a car. I prefer when Hot Wheels uses more realistic colors like clear or tinted blue or smoked look, but I'll take it. The purple looks pretty cool with the flames and the red lines nonetheless. Gives it a real custom look. So this one's got the chrome plastic bumper, which is part of the interior, and then the metal chassis. These cars are great for customizing. If you want to take these apart, you can get some in the main line. You can make all sorts of cool looking hot rods out of it and take the engine out and switch it around with other cars and drop the suspension. So let's open up that Dodge Dart. Now this is one cool car for sure. The paint job looks great on it. Lots of detail too. If you look, it's got a little detail behind that front wheel. 426 Hemi. Oh, look at that. We got a little bit of a tampo issue on the side where the card was not allowing me to see it through with the packaging. You can see it's been rubbed up against the packaging. It's lost a bit of the tampo. This is pretty common with Hot Wheels in all the price ranges. The tampos are still, I guess, kind of wet, let's call it, when they put them in the package, and not so much rubs off, but it just kind of gets stuck to the cardboard in some cases. I've seen that on a couple cars lately. And this is a really cool old casting. The roof is plastic, the blue part here is plastic, the rest is metal. This one dates right back to the first Hot Wheels ever made in 1968 or so. And look at that. It's got a new grille compared to the original ones. It says right on the grille, 1912 Fuzz. 1912 Fuzz. So that wasn't on the other Hot Wheels that I've seen. The classics. Actually, I'll pull one out from my collection. We'll compare it in just a second just to make sure. But that's a new feature that I haven't seen on this car. Surprisingly heavy little piece too, considering. And I'll bet you this one goes great on the track because of the low center of gravity. So, if nothing else, if it does become a peg warmer, pick up a few extras and maybe race them on your track and see how that does. So I've pulled down my 1974 release paddy wagon from my collection of vintage Blackwells and Redlines. And that's one thing that's changed too right off the bat. They're calling this one the Copper Stopper now. And this one used to be called the paddy wagon. But as you can see, there's a different grill now on the newer version that says 1912 Fuzz, whereas the original one, it's so small it's hard to read. It actually also says 1912 Fuzz. I did not know that. But 1912 Fuzz is now on a bigger, bolder print, and it's got a smooth background. Whereas on the old one, it's got a textured grill. So other than that, let's see if there's any other little tiny differences or things I've missed over the years. Well, there's a windscreen or a window in this one. But the old versions from the 60s did come with windows, so that's not entirely a new feature. Everything else looks pretty much the same. Even the base is remarkably similar. Got these upside down, sorry about that. Well, they've changed the name on the base too. It's not just a cardboard thing. Paddy wagon, it says right up there. Copper Stopper. So that's kind of interesting. A little bit of added interest to the Copper Stopper for you collectors out there.